Hello, everybody. My name is Carter Gagno. I'm a senior music education major here at Nazareth University, and welcome to episode 4 of my CME project on how imperative is music education in the K through 12 setting. The first episode, we talked a lot about my opinions before looking over the data I collected. Second episode was about the populations that I collected the data from. And in the previous episode, I talked about the data I got specifically pertaining to elementary school and people's elementary school experiences. What I'm trying to not do in these next couple episodes is draw too many opinions, conclusions, and more just talk about the data, talk about what people told me, and dig a little deeper into what they said. What I found a lot in the elementary setting is that most of these memories are actually don't have a lot to do with music at all, and they have more deeper values and maybe why those stuck. For some people it was community, for some people it was not being interested, and that's okay. So this episode we're going to primarily focus on middle school. And I said, please take a moment to reflect on your middle school years. For some, this could be a distant memory. Please consider the following prompts. These can be positive or negative. Please be honest. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go over my responses to these. I didn't record my responses in the survey, but I'm going to go over the questions. I feel like it's important for you to hear my experiences as well. So this is one of the first things I asked is what's the very first memory. I thought this was the most important memory to ask people to draw on. I don't want people to sit around and think of a memory that they think is a good answer for the survey. No, I asked what is the very first memory you thought of when thinking about your middle school music experiences. So for me, it's jazz band. I as a higher educated music person, I find a lot of my secondary years being performing. And for me, middle school jazz, there's two memories that pop right in my head. The first thing is a concert where there was a French horn player who played trumpet in jazz band because we needed trumpet players. And I remember her teaching me how to play higher notes, which at that point was like not high notes. But I just remember a friend, a colleague. She was older than me. She's a year older than me, and how she was teaching me. She would teach me how to get higher notes on the trumpet, which obviously I was trying to learn on my own time and learn in my lessons and in band and things. But what was really interesting is one of my first memories was of somebody who's also just playing and learning, being there and teaching me. Another memory was actually breaking a school trumpet. I remember pushing so hard that I broke the lead pipe, and then a friend next to me was pushing so hard he broke his lead pipe, and I remember the director was so it's just I don't even have words to describe it. I would be baffled. So I was in band. I was actually in choir for a little while, but I ended up leaving it because I needed more time. I was doing bad in my general courses. It was required in my middle school. You had to do 1 credit of music, art, and there's another one. Maybe it was photography or something. Oh no, tech. I had to do a computer class. And a wood shop, like that kind of tech also. So it was a required thing. Emotions that you connect to these musical experiences. Music was my kind of like comfort zone, right? And I'm sure I could have 100 significant things to share, but I won't do that. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go through a lot of these responses that I got. I'm going to go through the ones that are a little bit more heavy, a little bit more that have a little bit more of a body to them. There are some answers in here that are short, like I have one that said music was optional. I did not participate. That's totally fine. I'm happy with that answer. I remember doing NISMA as a group festival in middle school. We also had a required general music class. Oh, I also had general music. I forgot about that. So I'm going to try to go through some of these ones that are a little more in depth, just because those are the ones I'm going to kind of draw my conclusions on. But so the one of the first response I have is being principal trumpet while having 20 trumpets in the section. This is a fact. So that was their very first memory, and I continued band because it was my primary instrument, and the only time music was required was in 4th grade choir. Otherwise, it was completely optional. Okay, so music was optional for most of this person's schooling years. Now, this person obviously has a deeper connection with instrumental music, and it seems like a positive memory. I mean, that's something to be proud of, right? Being principal trumpet, meaning that's the first chair, that's the top of the top, right? Principal trumpet out of a group of 20 different trumpets. That's something to be proud of. So there's pride behind that memory. Another person said, middle and high school choir couldn't sing, still can't, but I got to be I got to be Nana the dog in the Peter Pan musical. So there's this is a funny answer, and I actually think I know who might have answered this. I have family members who answered this, but so the positive, a very positive person, right? I mean, nobody answers this survey. Nobody answers surveys in general with this kind of stale humor, right? I couldn't sing, still can't, but I got to be in the musical, right? So, and that's how I'm interpreting it. Maybe I should be interpreting it differently. It could be a negative memory, but it's that. But I got to be the Nana. I got to be Nana the dog, right? It's that I didn't think I could really sing, but I still got to do this. Pretty cool, right? So there's more pride behind this. Wanted to play drums. The band director wasn't very nice. Thought that it was a male only instrument. Loved the required music class. I have no talent, but I learned a lot about reading music, music history, and even a bit of theory. Sometimes it still helps me on trivia night. So, right, this is somebody whose memories are not necessarily positive, right? There, I mean, not a nice band director. Thought that drumming was just for men. They didn't think that they were the best singer in the world, but they what they're doing is they're telling me that I wasn't the great musician, but I had great experiences, and they even still think about some of those experiences now. Which it's just very wholesome, very, very touching. I'm going to move on a little bit. Just some of these short answers. We had music class, no real middle school, though. Oh, okay. Yeah, so middle school is kind of one of those gray areas, right? I wasn't too picky. It's more about the age range, right? No music in middle school. In music class... Oh, sorry, I'm reading that poorly. Okay, so this person said, in music class, sometime in middle school, we got to play on the keyboards. That was awesome, right? We got someone who's direct music connection, right? I joined band and choir, honestly, because my parents made me, but everyone else was in it too. Is that a positive experience? I'm not really sure. My parents made me continue trumpet when I wanted to quit too. Look where I am now. I think music class was required from 5 through 7. I don't remember if it was required in 8th grade. I wasn't good at band. They made me play the oboe. Oof, not an instrument to be forced to play, I will say. If you're being forced to play the oboe, you're not going to love it. I hated it. So I didn't enjoy it, and I didn't enjoy choir. My teacher was ancient, and I didn't love that either. I liked singing and did a few of the musicals, which was a blast. Okay. It makes me really happy to hear honest responses from this, right? So, again, another person that wasn't, too confident in their abilities, and I just I poked a little fun at it, that oboe. I was forced to play oboe. If you're forced to play oboe, anybody that's listening to this that was forced to play oboe, I promise that was not the instrument to be forced to play. That's a hard instrument. So again, some positive and some negative experience, but it seems like I'm being told these negative experiences, but then like, hey, I did a few musicals, that was a blast, right? Okay. Seems like another answer is a little bit more of a music person, regional festivals in 7th and 8th grade, jazz band festivals at Waterford Jazz Fest, right? Okay. So this is somebody who's a little bit more involved. This is a very bulleted list. In 6th grade, I had the opportunity with the higher level 6th graders to play in the 7th and 8th grade band for the band director's composition in a concert. Cool opportunity that made me feel like I was good at music and that it's something to continue. Okay, so again, on the surface, we have somebody who's just talking about a musical experience, but when you think a little deeper into that, it was an educator who said, "Hey, I'm going to put you on this activity," and for multiple reasons. That I'm gonna take a music educator standpoint here and say that's for multiple reasons. A, you need to fill seats, right? They needed to fill that seat, but B, they're giving this student an opportunity to sit in with the older kids and learn more about music and give them a little confidence. And clearly that's what happened. They said it made them feel like they were actually good at it, right? I mean, it makes you feel confident about something. And that's an experience that's not clearly has not left their memory because, I mean, it's affirmation, right? Okay, I'm going to skip over a couple of these. Playing conga in music class. I was too shy for choir and band. Music was a required credit, and I enjoyed because learning a bit of conga was fun. Okay, something else I wanted to talk about. Where is that one? Okay, one of my final ones here. Learning to read and write music was one of their first memories. And they were playing sports, so they didn't have time for choir and band, and it was required, and it was usually positive emotions, but also was not interested as much in middle school. And then another response right under that: music was optional. I did not participate. So, again, it's a question of interest, right? It's a question of how essential can it be if you can't inspire students, right? But so this is something that came up in my own thought process. Well, music is great. These are all great experiences. But do they need to happen? Well, here's what I'm going to pose as an opposing thought. I had terrible experiences in math class. Horrible. I actually really did not like math. I'm great at math. I'm great at math now. I put work into it in high school because I was behind, and I'm pretty good at math now. Hated it. Worst experiences. Does that mean it was invaluable? No, not at all. Right? My first memories of science and history classes is how much I was bored and how much I didn't like them. But they were still valuable, right? So what I really wish I got from this data, especially from these individuals who are kind of like music was optional, didn't participate. Why? I really wish I got a why out of that because there's more than just, this person above says I was playing sports and didn't have enough time. Great. So for this person, this must have been an outside of class activity, right? Music was more of something you did outside of school. Because for me, sports and music didn't conflict. The only time they ever would was for concerts, and the concert takes priority because there's only about 2 concerts every year, whereas there's dozens of games throughout the year. So that's something I wish I got a little bit more of out of my survey. But I think this is a good stopping point for my middle school experiences. I don't want to get too much into opinions and analyzing the data and drawing conclusions, because that's going to be saved more for my final episode. Loud chair. Okay, so this has been episode 4. If you've made it to the end of this episode, thank you so much. I will talk to you again in episode 5 and 6 for the last 2 episodes. Okay, thank you.